So back again with another live. So I wanted to voice some things and some concerns I have. Because there's a lot of things going on in the world today. We have a lot of things happening right now. And it's time we start addressing these things, especially as parents. We got to address certain things when we see it. So I hope you guys, whoever's watching this, please like, share, subscribe to my channel, because we got to support each other. That's one thing that needs to happen more often than what's going on now. We need to support each other. So what I want to talk about is all the craziness that's been going on in the world. We got a lot of things happening right now as far as the White House, what's going on with the country in general, how people are manipulating each other, how people are hating each other, all the racism going on. We have to think about our children, right? We got to think about how they're going to be perceiving this world and what perceptions they have from their young minds. Because honestly, our children know more about the world than we give them credit for. And we got to understand this. We cannot shield our children. We can't shield our children from the world, right? Like when they're young, we as parents, or at least from my parenthood so far, I try to protect my daughters from certain things and certain images and certain things on the TV, things of that nature. But getting older and understanding the world that I live in, the world that my daughters live in, it comes to a point where you're like, all right, they're going to see these things eventually, right? There's only so much you can do to shield your kids from reality and what's going on in the world. Only so much you can do. Your kids are eventually going to see how ugly the world is, right? And honestly, as parents, we have to understand this. Our kids are not going to live in a Disney format. How you doing, Becker? Welcome, welcome. Our kids are not living in a Disney format. This world is not made from Disney, all right? And by that, I mean this world is not a fairy tale for our children. Our children will eventually see just how ugly this world is. And there's nothing we can do about it as parents. The only thing I would say we can do to kind of mitigate the backlash that they may face is tell them about the world, teach them about the world, show them the things that we can lead our kids in certain ways, right? Because there's going to be things that trips them up and makes them stumble in this world. We as parents, we have to kind of decrease the fall or the impact of the fall, right? Because our kids are going to make a lot of mistakes, but we just have to be there to kind of guide them through that mistake. Think about when you were younger. How many mistakes have you made? I know I've made a whole lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. I've done things that when I thought about it afterward, I was like, what the hell was I thinking about? What the hell was I thinking about? I remember one time I was in the corner store. This was when I was living in New York. One of my friends decides we're going to go into the corner store. And he didn't tell me this. We didn't game plan for this at all. We go into the corner store. He decides he's going to steal a piece of candy. Randomly. Mind you, I had money for the candy and everything. He decides I'm going to steal I'm going to pay for one candy and I'm going to steal another one. Now, when you're a kid, you don't realize how stupid this sounds. It sounds ridiculous. Why not just pay for both of them? You're going to pay for one and steal another one? So he decides, I'm gonna hide one under my fingers. And the guy that was behind the cashier, he really saw what he was doing. He saw what this kid was doing. And this was someone I chose as a friend. So I ended up, me being dumb at that age, I ended up trying the same exact thing because of peer pressure. Peer pressure is something that our kids are going to face. They're going to face a lot of peer pressure as they grow older. And we have to prepare ourselves as parents to know not all kids are going to be with understanding our children and actually having a positive impact on them. We got to be aware of that. Not everyone should be hanging around your children. You got to understand that. Not everyone should be hanging around your children. And it's okay. It's okay to pass judgment on certain kids. You really have to be honest. Not to say that actions won't speak louder than words, but there's certain things that you're going to see that you're not going to like, that other kids present themselves with, and automatically something in your mind is going to click to say, no, that's not what I want my child around. You know what I mean? So just to hark back to my beginning point, we have to understand that our kids are living in a world where they are going to face many, many obstacles. Because look at how we're facing so many obstacles now as adults. We're facing so many obstacles. And let me say this, being an adult is ghetto as hell. It's the most ghetto thing I've ever experienced in my life, just being an adult. And we gotta prep our kids. We gotta make them understand, enjoy being a youth. Enjoy being a young child that plays games, that has fun, that doesn't have that many responsibilities. But just know, as you get older, I'm going to teach you the ways of this world. Because there's a lot of negative influences on the TV. There's a lot of negative influences on your child's iPads. There's a lot of negative influences all around your children. And you got to ask yourself, how can I really avoid my children from being influenced by all of these negative factors, right? Because like I said, there's a lot of negative factors out there that's going to affect your children. And we just gotta understand that as parents. We're not perfect, and our kids are not gonna be perfect. And every day is a new phase. One day your child may go through a phase of not listening to you, wanting to do everything on their own, and not wanting to understand where you're coming from with the advice you're trying to give to them. There's children that's going to go through that phase. And you as a parent, you can't stress yourself over that. You got to understand, your children are going to go through a phase maybe every couple years or so. And you have to take it day by day. Otherwise, mentally, you're gonna crash out. Have some grace on yourself as a parent and know that your child is going through things, they're learning new things, they're hanging out with different people, so their mental thoughts are always going to be changing. You got to understand that as a parent. Let me show you guys all this snow out here. See if I can turn it around. Crazy. The crazy amount of snow right now. But guys, me just walking up and down is me getting some exercise, and it's also me just being out in nature. People may think I'm crazy because they see me with a phone, they think I'm talking to myself, but it's all right. Get out in nature and kind of, it can release some of the stress that you've been thinking about. So don't be afraid to get out in nature and experience it. And I'm not a cold person, by the way, but I say, you know what? Let me just get out in nature. Let me walk around. Just do it. Just do it one time and see how you feel. See if it makes any difference for you. But anyway, we have to figure out where our kids are mentally in this day and age. Because mentally, a lot of our kids are seeing all of these images. They're seeing all of this rhetoric spoken on the TV set that they may not understand, or they're making their own judgments based on what they hear. So now, what this does, if they're not having that proper supportive voice to explain what's going on, now they're making their own judgment. Now they're saying, oh, this guy on the TV is saying he doesn't like black people, or he doesn't like Mexicans. And because no one explained it to them at a younger age, now they're gonna make their own judgments. And then now, unfortunately, what happens sometimes is they start making their own little judgments based on race now. Because you gotta understand, when you speak certain things in front of kids and you don't explain what things mean, they're going to make their own judgments of it. And unfortunately, it comes out in negative ways with their classmates, with their family members. I mean, have you guys heard of that story with, it was a story not too long ago. It was an 11-year-old girl. I forgot the location. But an 11-year-old girl actually unalived herself because she was being bullied in the schools. The kids in her class were saying, they were making fun of her and saying that her family is going to get deported. Did you guys hear about that? It's a shame. She unalived herself, 11 years old. I cannot picture even understanding what unaliving was at that age. Me as a millennial now, I wasn't raised that way. You know what I mean? So to hear a story like that, and to hear that kids are doing that to themselves nowadays. In fact, it's increasing amongst kids. It's increasing. So that tells me we have a big problem in this country. We have a lot of big problems, actually, but that's one of the big problems I'm discussing. Kids, younger kids are unaliving themselves. And no one seems to bat an eye because there's so many other issues going on. And a lot of people don't care because it's not at their front step. You know those people that kind of close their eyes. They feel like they sleep good at night because nothing comes knocking on their door. You know those people. There's a lot of people out there like that. As long as their welcome mat looks clean, they don't care if anyone else wipes their feet on your mat. As long as their welcome mat looks good. But here's the thing about karma. Karma may not kiss you now, but trust and believe it's going to search you out. And when it finds you, it's going to make love to you. That's how karma reacts. Certain situations. People think just because you are idle in life, like if you see something bad happen to someone and you have the power to say something, you have the power to maybe prevent it from happening or reduce the act from happening, and you do nothing. How does that make you innocent? You know what I mean? Like, I think some people should not be called a human. That's my opinion. Some people should not be called a human. Because a human has a heart. A human has morals. A human has values. So I think we're at a point in time where we need to stop calling people humans. We need to start calling people entities. Because they are not human. They're alive, but they are not human. And I'm all for it. I'm all for the smoke when it comes to that. because I don't want anyone being compared to people that actually care, people who actually would act if they saw someone being bullied or someone being affected in some form of negative way. And we got to cut this out. It's just too much. It's overstimulating. It's way too overstimulating. Because honestly, that's where my anger comes up. Like, I get angry when kids are affected. I really do. I have 2 kids of my own, so when I see anyone mistreating or abusing children, I'm automatically triggered. Automatically. And you have to have some form of standard. You have to be affected by some form of way in this world. Otherwise, it's like, do you have a heart? Is your heart even beating? I've seen so many instances where someone did something to someone else, and I automatically got triggered because it affects me. It affects me in a way where I feel like I got to stand up for that person. You know what I mean? That's just me. I don't like to see people get bullied, because there's wicked people in this world that will take advantage of someone because of race, because they're smaller than them, or because they see them, they're walking by themselves, or they have a weapon. You know what I mean? There's people that take advantage, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I don't like unfair fights. If you're going to do something to someone, at least make it fair. But that's not what cowards do. Cowards wait for you to turn your back or be in a vulnerable situation for them to attack you. That's what cowards do. But we have to arm ourselves more ways than one. I think you guys get the point. We have to arm ourselves in this day and age. Because in this day and age, they're not playing fair. They're not playing fair with any of us. And some people are getting the shorter stick. I'm gonna be honest. Some people are getting the shorter stick compared to other people. And if you can't see that, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And I will never call this place the United States. No. It's called the divided states of America. Let's start stating facts. We gotta call it like it is. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Take care, guys. Later.